countless teams trying to qualify, 8 entering the playoff bracket, and only 3 remain on the final day of the night's North America Challengers Stage 3 playoffs. Welcome, everyone. Great day of Valorant ahead. Cannot wait to get started. My name's Sierra Dawn. I'll be your host for our final day here. And on the desk, and your wonderful casters for the day, we have none other than Van Silly and Lemon Kiwi. How's it going,
dude,
you guys?
How come we thought we were doing the same wave, Lemon Kiwi?
I know.
Like we're on the same wavelength. That's awesome.
We were just really excited. It's been such a long road and last challengers of the year, and it all comes down to these 3 teams and who could topple the rankers at the end. It's gonna be a fun day.
It definitely will be a little bittersweet, but man, I'm definitely excited for the action ahead. I mean, this stage 3 is just this one double elimination playoff bracket, but the action that we've had throughout, I mean, it's been jam-packed.
For sure, because you had to come from premier qualifications for some teams, then you had open quals, top 32 group stages. So even though you're looking into this now and we're in the playoffs and it's only a double elimination bracket, for some of these teams, for example, like Blue Otter, they almost made it into the top 3 trying to qualify from Premier, which would have been awesome. But to see here the top 3 remaining, where other teams such as TSM, maybe YFP today, or MXS are not even here, has shown us that it's been a fun competitive stage 3 and, you know, a good taste to what's to come for next year. But dude, to see rankers in the grand finals and as a favorite too, that's insane to see.
Especially other teams and other players talking about that caliber and the talent that the players on the team have. I mean, Rankers is going to be a terrifying opponent to go up against in that grand finals. And I'm excited that we get to see these different teams, these different players, Jen, really be able to pop off, because as one of the last events for the year, I mean, this is people trying to make impression for next year, trying to get things going for next year. So this has been really cool to see how it's all come along.
Yeah, because the point of this is to make a good impression to those teams out on the higher end. This is your chance to be a contender, and you don't even have to win the whole thing to be in everyone's good looks. Like MXS is a great shout out to that, of people getting signed to VCT, of just having a good and consistent performance. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and now final day here of the playoffs. And first off, looking at the lower finals that we have ahead of us, YFP going up against Nightblood Gaming. And YFP, of course, was a team name that we're pretty familiar with, being able to see them all in challengers throughout this year. But for Nightblood Gaming, this was a little bit more of an unknown quantity for some of the players on the squad. And Vans, the step up that we've seen throughout this, being knocked down just yesterday into this lower finals, this has been really impressive.
The first time that you hear about this name, or that you're looking at this roster, you're just thinking about win, and then everybody else is like, okay, who are these guys? Where do they come from? And sorry, as it was introduced yesterday, Win and Sogo definitely have played together in collegiate for now, but Fireball Ups and the up-and-comers like Kess and Alim have definitely made us think about NBG a little bit more going into stage 3 for challengers, and potentially even to next year, because they have a lot of firing power, some great smart plays coming out from all of the players too. And even as a group, for a lot of these teams that haven't really practiced for that long, NBG looked like they were well ironed, that they are able to cross the T's, dot the I's, and make sure that they're able to move deep into the playoffs. The thing is, I'm still going to put a star onto that, because not to discredit the teams that they were playing against, but the bottom side of that bracket in the playoffs were definitely like all the heavy favorites to make it through. So this is going to be a huge test for NBG if they're able to surpass YFP today.
Yeah, and if they're able to bounce back from that loss to Winthrop in that semifinal, this is the match following that loss for Nightblood. And YFP, they lost to Rankers, the team in the grand final, in case you missed our bracket showing earlier. And then they beat Blue Otter yesterday and are hoping to ride that momentum. I'm looking forward to the big duelist matchup here of Alum versus Penny, because it's a clash of styles, in my opinion, of Alum being more of that next generation duelist with the neons and the Yours, while Penny sticks to a more traditional Jet, Raze, and really to the meta. So I'm excited to see the different looks today.
I mean, there's definitely a couple players that I have my eye on, but someone that we talked about early on within this tournament and that we're going to talk about a little bit more today, we got to talk about Sentinel Fireball Ops, because this was someone that right away made an impression. When you're looking at this team of names that you're not necessarily the most familiar with, this was a player that was able to just kind of stand his ground, both in the wins that they had, but as well, even having a good performance in their loss in that upper finals to get knocked down here at this point, Vans, and someone that when you're looking at the consistency that these newer teams are having together, I think is just a paramount to having any level of success, especially going up against someone a little more established like YFP.
And especially going into the current meta where there's a lot of map manipulation with fast rotates from Neons, TPs from Yorus. So all the initiators, controllers might be like navigating around the map while you're putting a lot of responsibilities onto your anchor player. And for Fireballs, for him playing the defensive side as he did throughout this whole tournament, he's been really, really good. I was going to say on fire, but that's way too much of a pun. And then when you need him to anchor up and do like these highlight reels and delay enough for his teammates to come back and fight back for the site retakes, he's doing his job and he's great at it. So again, first time that I was able to set eyes on a player like Fireballis to be able to cast a stage 3, and he's been quite impressive.
Yeah. And Fireball has less big name experience than Thief, but still has competed for so many years in community circuits and trying to get into challengers. And he's really created a reputation amongst the top players floating around so many teams. But while Thief plays more of mainly just Cypher, Fireball can show his different looks with the deadlock every now and then. But Fireball is more known, in my opinion, for his discipline, really utility heavy style, and prioritizes holding these angles and very traditional defense. While as Thief, on the other hand, I feel like he could be really aggressive, high impact, high risk sometimes, and more known for that rather than a more stayed back defensive Sentinels. So I think Thief has been really good at creating pressure for his team. So that difference of Sentinels, I think, could make a difference today.
What I think of Fireball Ops, I'm just thinking the game versus Ranker when someone tried to shoot him in the back of the head and he just 180 turned on them, popped them, done. Like that was absolutely crazy. But if we're talking about people capable of shooting, well, we got to talk about YFP on the other end. Talk about not just Thief, but the rest of the squad too. Because YFP, like fans, we've seen these players throughout the year. We've seen this core of this YFP, Eller coming in and seeing them all play together. I mean, this has been really fun. All capable of stepping up in very different moments. And it was a team that we definitely had very high expectations of heading into playoffs.
Especially when you're looking at what happened after stage 2 and like OXG disbanding after Ascension and whatnot. When you're looking at some teams that are still trying to stick together and you're trying to build the next powerhouses for next year in 2025, you're of course thinking about MXS, potentially even TSM if they're going to still stick around here for next year. But YFP is definitely now up on the map for that conversation. It's going to have to be like you talked about. We've seen these names before. They've all played in like different teams. They've all played, or most of them played in tier 1 as well. If you're thinking about Jakey, if you're thinking about Stellar. So to be able to group in and band together for tier 2 and try to make a name for themselves back into 2025, this is a team to look out for. But we've seen some upsets so far in the stage 3.
And just looking at how the map pools are so similar to both these teams, I look towards the initiators and the experience that they bring. I'm glad you brought up Stellar because he could really just play anything, a super hyper flex. Breach on Sunset Haven Split, you got Gecko and KO, you got even some Deadlock in there if they want to play double Sentinel. They bring Stellar into that. And YFP has such a tremendous amount of experience at a high level. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to, of that confidence, that leadership that goes into game. Whilst Nightblood, you're looking towards Kess, who maybe isn't as flexible as Stellar, a lot of Sova, Sky, maybe some Fade. No KO though, and we'll see how that affects Nightblood going in.
I mean, we're talking about the players that have played at a higher level, and we should talk about the players that should be at a higher level, because there's definitely been conversations about some of the players on this team. Why are they not tier 1? And we got to talk more about Thief. Thief yesterday in the 2 matches, Vans, outstanding. That Sunset, and then whatever the next one was. I'm just so excited about this series. The past is in the past, but Thief popping off on both of them, and on Split it was, on Decipher. And when I'm looking at a YFP that, again, are making this lower bracket run, Thief has been an astounding standout and has been getting the attention. People like, hey, why isn't he higher? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I think we are not giving enough credit to Thief for sure. You look at the past teams that he's played with, Luminosity that had even upsets, I think, against Sentinels back then too in like 2021, and also like a consistent team too. And I think even at some point it had some sort of like cross with Stellar in those days of LG, but being able to play for like Pioneers, Breakthrough that made it to Moist Moguls, then to the mix with Moist X Shopify. So he was able to, finally make a name for himself and then get into these moments where into these teams rather that could prove themselves as a powerhouse in the next team to ascend. But unfortunately, when that team doesn't make it through, he got the short end of it, and then now has an opportunity to prove himself again within YFP. So there's still great stocks within Thief, and organizations know the value that he brings. It is competitive at the very top to try to make it into the VCTs. But I think at this point, the gap that he has skill-wise individually from right now into tier 1 is not that bad.
Yeah.
I think there's a great opportunity for him to move up.
And I'm glad you brought up the time with Moist Moguls, because he got 3rd place in Challengers playoffs last year, I believe. And this could be the team that really threatens the throne. I know Rankers are the big favorites, but YFP, I think, are the next team up to hope to upset them. But then Nightblood, they're young blood as well. Like, they don't have like this insane resume that YFP do, but expect the unexpected from them.
They're mostly young blood, mostly. Yeah. We gotta see who is going to have the chance to play off against Rankers in the grand finals and start narrowing in on today's series and head over to our map picks and bans. Still best of 3s for this. And Vans, for the map picks and bans, at this point, plenty of tape on both of these teams throughout their runs.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at it right now because I haven't really seen it yet. So to see Bind come out, I think this is just very normal out for NBG. Although they suffered a loss against Rankers yesterday, this is still like a normal map that they play. They made it very competitive at the very beginning. Super smart on how they tried to play against the Yoru gate crash, for example, find that timing and work the map. But then you had a Rankers that was like warmed up, and then boom, it's all over there. And then you get into YFP as map pick, which is Sunset. I think that's also very normal. I think what's going to be interesting is thinking about that 3rd map. When you're moving all the way to the 3rd map and it goes on to Abyss, you're definitely going to heavily favor YFP at this point, because, you know, Nightblood Gaming didn't play that many games on Abyss, although even when they played it, it wasn't Abyss at all. So YFP has this opportunity to now even win the map veto if it has to go into a map 3.
I'm really looking towards the duelist difference we're going to see. Nightblood really rely on the Neon when it comes to bind, and YFP, it's more the traditional Rays. We know, just like I pointed out earlier, Penny likes those more Jet Rays roles, so that could be a difference. And we saw, Nightblood trip up against Rankers, but I like that you said it was really competitive, because it was. Sunset, I think, will be a difference of initiators. We have YFP preferring more information gathering on a large map like that, so incorporating Physics Sova, while as NBG do so with the Fade, so a difference of preference. But we'll see how that plays around the Neon matchup that we're expecting for Sunset.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Neon matchup for Sunset, because that's always just a fun, explosive, lightning fast time. But talking about Mind and what's ahead here, I mean, when we talk about Nightblood and like the impression they've made on us, Alum is definitely somebody here, Vans, that I've gotten a huge impression from with this Yoru gameplay, and then Fireball Ops with this Deadlock, and then looking down the other side for YFP, I mean, they don't play this often, but it has been strong. So heading into the Agent Select, how do we think this is going to match up against each other?
Yeah, I think looking at the side of Nightblood Gaming, since it is their map pick and they're comfortable on that, there shouldn't be any changes coming through. With Kess still playing as a Sky, Alim, you were mentioning before, I think he's just excellent in terms of the space that he was making on this Neon. They had great entries and great executions at the very beginning until the first timeout came out, and then Rankers just started to come back and fully take advantage of it. So you definitely need to see NBG throw up a much better defensive half than they did on their attack, because their defensive half is not good at all. For YFP, I think this is also a very good comp as well. This is very standard too, but there's not going to be too many C's going on around since you're playing and focusing more on a Sky instead of a Fade, but it does give you some good flash capabilities.
I'm just looking at this Sky, I'm looking at this Gecko, and this looks like it's gonna be a flashy time. Let's get into it. It's the first map here of our lower finals. It's gonna be Bind. Have fun, guys.
Let's get right into the lower bracket final. Best of 3, and such a strong defensive looking comp from Nightblood when you think about the double controllers and you throw a Deadlock into the mix. Not everyone plays a Sentinel, but they're all hoping to really lock this map down.
Yeah, the issue with Nightblood Gaming, though, is although it looks like they could control it and delay quite well on the defensive side, they were just getting outshot by Rankers yesterday, and also getting outshot even the last time in the group stages versus Rankers when they got into in their Group C. That said, they still qualified through. They had to play against YFP, but again, as I mentioned before, they get to play on the attack first, which then lets them dictate the pace. But this great stack from YFP anticipates the push into Hookah.
So 3v3 engaged and just dashing on in. Hallam did some good initial damage, and it's a scramble. Now they've covered the left side. Nightblood focus on the front, and Fireball is in the last 1v1 against Physic. Physic was on his last leg anyway. So Nightblood will hope to jump onto the site soon, and Jakey, who was on the flank, gets cut off by the deadlock wall, and I like that we're keeping Fireball behind just in case to keep that surprise swing out. And it's Nightblood that look very clinical.
Again, it starts off with a great read from YFP by having a three-player stack and a crossfire set up towards B. The issue is the whole slide with the limb. Yes, he's the first one to enter in, but it feels like when he slid through and they're going for this crossfire, look at what's on the ground. Literally nothing. Just a stim pack that went even on the attack side. There's no extra stall coming through where they could throw maybe even a snake bite from TP to go into hookah to do some vulnerabilities and to be able to try to fight back here against that flood coming in from NBG. So a great job here by Nightblood to take advantage of that while YFP thought that they had the numbers. And Eco coming into this round now for Nightblood on the attack, and it is going to be very, very passive. They're expecting some walk forwards. They want to try to hear for potential orb controls and even pushes down. Probably some players are going to hit tab too, just to see if the number pops up on players trying to pick up orbs if they're too far away to hear it.
Well, that's Nightblood taking advantage and capitalizing on those people walking up, but it's the Sheriff Thief isn't actually going to walk up to get any weapon upgrade. It's really worried about what could be lurking around in the offensive spawn. Meanwhile, Nightblood have made good pace towards B, and it's just Jakey on the Sheriff, or with the Sheriff, is going to let the dog walk by instead of revealing his position, and that's going to hurt him in the end. And now Nightblood with smokes in position will be in position to plant.
He's done some damage, but Wynn's doing a great job. The first opener, watching the flanks, a 3v2 now on the advantage. Thief is still low after the first engagement from the push-up from Shower, so
30 seconds left.
Right now for YFP, you're hoping to be able to catch some players with these wall bangs, but they're should be quite impossible here for YFP to retake.
Yeah, Thief just hoping to get a lucky shot through the smoke, but so far Nightblood have gotten to be both times. Even with a first blood, even when they got first blooded this round, Nightblood still moved on and carried through with the confidence, and Thief wanting to maybe
gun here.
Go through the teleport? I don't know, but
yeah,
it's gonna. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, I forgot someone left that behind. That's important.
Yeah, on the fight that he got from the lurk moving forward here, I think that was Fireball ups that was lurking up towards that side, or it was Sogo. Either or. I was two smart moves, or he goes into the TP so he could die to Spike just like he did over here, or he goes to pick up a weapon that he could save within the next round. But I think it was just grabbing a weapon. Third option, grab a weapon, look for exits towards Sands, but I think it would have still been better to just make sure you die to Spike and not try to go head to head against anybody, because Wynn was already 2 orbs away of getting this ultimate with the 3k that he just got into this round. Some clean shots coming through, as you just saw from the Zipper replay. So yeah, maybe we're just backpedaling for absolutely no reason for Thief, but at least they're able to come out with a strong buy this time around, and that's the smarter play too. Maybe that was a discussion in the comms saying, hey, you're only going to get 1,000 credits if you save your weapon. Let's bring out our rifle here.
It's gonna get some info for Physic, and not wanting to jump spot or do anything that could pose a risk to me. And Jake is just gonna peek anyway. Flash gets nothing in garden there for Kess, but they do spot that initiator at the back site, so Nightblood know they have some space to work with, making sure now everyone is healed up and hookah isn't a problem. Nightblood don't want to be shot in the back. They're going to clear elbow with dog and just take this step by step. It's YFP that have been peeking them. It's Nightblood that have been winning those gunfights. But now there's been a lot of time afforded for YFP to reestablish, to take different angles. They're going to dog back in, and Nightblood's lurk has already been pulled towards A. The sell happens towards B, and it's an opening pick for NBG.
Has ult with us too, but just died to it. But things are looking good now for NBG on the attack side. Already dropping 3 of the players in their bonus round, and the flanks also coming from a limb.
Stellar bring the gun out just a little too late, and Physic has to watch their back and is just trying to choose their battles and hope to bring Physic out. Knew that they didn't have enough time to square up, so Fireball eventually comes through. Nightblood I'm very impressed with their offense so far, having that pivot mid-round towards A, continuing to pull attention at B. It's been well executed.
Same thing as yesterday, I think. When you're looking at the start that they've had has always been, well, not always, but it was very good versus Rankers yesterday, too, where they actually had a 4-0 lead, where they're able to convert their bonus round and have a very strong one here. That said, we'll have to see if YFP is going to pull that timeout after to figure out here what they could do with their gun round and see if that story continues where NBG cannot hold on to this lead they're getting. But you're absolutely right, Lemon Kiwi. They're doing a great job, at least at the very start, to manipulate the map. The scaling is also very good. This time with a dog to make sure that they could take U-Haul control. The thing is they don't have too much showers control. This might be a Sogo super late lurk while you go for the explosive towards the A site and try to stay as a group because you have the rifles against the shares.
Stellar already knows there's some action at A short, and NBG relying on power in numbers, but also sending Huin to the front. These Gecko flashes from Stellar are a good delay, but no one can swing and capitalize on this. Nightblood almost gone unscathed, and with YFP being so injured, it's Kess that can finish up these kills, leaving Jakey to do something and just get a lucky shot. But this has been so clean out of NBG.
Yeah, you see the smoke too coming in from U-Haul, and that's very smart. Even if the dog didn't spot anybody there, you look at the loadout, you look at the economy at the beginning of the round here on the attack side, you could expect potentially somebody playing a Bucky, a shorty close range, and you don't want to fall into that trap. So to make sure that you keep the distance on the gap, you go for that smoke towards U-Haul. You force the players out in that spot, and you called it. It was a great flash that came out here from Stellar that blinded, I think, even two players. Maybe have given an advantage for that swing to come out here from Penny with that Bucky, but you got denied from the short A side, if I'm not mistaken, there too. So very nicely done on making sure that you stay away and further away from the capability of what the shorties and the Buckies could do. So here's that timeout, and this is going to be an important gun round for YFP. You still have the orbital strike that's been held on for the last 2 rounds for a win. That could, once again, just by having that icon up, might potentially put YFP in a position where they don't want to play passively towards U-Haul or even give that up in the first place. So you have 2 options here to try to expect and anticipate potentially this A site hit, or you want to go for that forward push right into short A, or you could go into, hey, let's give up that spot. We can play the retake, work the extremities, so that Thief could have his orbital strike to help us on the retake.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because this B defense has been so passive. There's not these jump spots. There's no first bullets coming out of YFP. So will they want to fight for this orb to get Thief that orbital strike, as you mentioned? But it's NBG that have so many space-creating tools, like an orbital strike that's already online. Seekers, Annihilation. This is going to be big. Nightblood, not going to waste any time putting a limb past the defenses, but took the raise nade and slips through the defenses, through the smoke, and it's first blood for Nightblood again. Now, how will they want to cross? They wait for flashes, but it's the orbital strike from Huin that NBG can just rely on. They don't have to go for risky peeks. They can just flush out the rats using ults. Now, with the spike planted, all the cards are on the table. It's YFP that have to respond. This is a solid gun round for them, but they can't even get vision. They're getting shot through the box. They're being read like a book. And it's Jake and Stellar who have to, well, ideally work together, but they're not in tradable positions. Jakey is just acting like bait. Gets Stellar a double kill, but it's not going to be enough.
It's only Stellar that finally is able to see somebody and get some shots out of it when Jakey died. Everybody else died from abilities or getting shot from the back. And I got to give props and come in again, Fireball Up's utility on this deadlock, just like he kind of did here going into the previous matchup when we were looking at them playing on Ascent. It's just the way that he's able to use his gravity net to really catch the players off guard into positions that just leaves them out of the open and then gives the opening for a limb to be able to just slide through and get the backstab. That one landed right in front of Triple. That really covers the radius by default and also the back of the door. And we'll hold that thought, though. There is a little bit of pressure that's being created in showers just to keep players from the defensive end in that spot, but we're still lurking and scaling up. We're trying to see if that activates YFP on an aggressive push and to react off what a limb's currently doing. So far, the only info he's getting is that there's a dog, but there's also a fast rotate from YFP, who now have 4 players here and a weak side on B, where with no pushes coming through, it might be NBG still might want to try to push towards this A site for a final hit.
And YFP could almost play for a retake when you have Thrash, you have Orbital Strike, but they're trying to be ahead of the game. And YFP being proactive is what really caused some hesitation from NBG to, when they activated that overdrive, they didn't go running in. They have Seekers, they're not running in. They have an Odin, they're not being that loud. So NBG have been good at adapting to the now knowing the position of this Sky. They're gonna just see how close the action is on the other side of A short. The Orbital Strike used offensively to clear this U-Haul, forcing some movement. Deep is sitting in the smoke and runs head first into NBG, and the Seekers run him over. I love the reaction out of Kess with the Odin. YFP have to hold back against this, take angles. Physic playing as safe as he can. The Annihilation will claim one, and NBG, every inch shall take a mile. And they just are having perfect rounds. It's 6-0 against a team that you would think YFP would put up a stronger fight at this point.
I thought I liked the I did like the idea in the first place with what Thief was doing with the orbital strike. I thought he was trying to hit at least Kess, who was in his dog, so that could push some players away. But to maintain that gap, to not allow NBG to really push up towards A short, that allows for him to just walk up and make sure that he hides within that smoke to mow some players down with a stinger, give a winning chance here for YFP to fight back towards the A site. So they went for a timeout a la EG style when you're trying to leverage your ultimates to try to salvage the gun round and try to get some free upgrades from what you're playing. But unfortunately, it didn't pan out, and it's NBG with 6-0. But thankfully, YFP from that timeout still has money to work with, and we're pressure on both extremities.
Wow. NBG have been really good at punishing these forward walk-ups from YFP in showers to try and get that orb, and kind of sensing the desperation from YFP. NBG are fine sitting back. They really are good at playing this chess match of knowing when to be aggressive, like when they jump into B. When they run after Seekers, they don't hesitate, even when they're losing bodies. NBG know how to react well, and so far,
Double push.
It's going to be.
So do I still have a timing here? If they don't clear through and take him down, he might be able to get this the spawn backstab.
Then you leave mid open, and we'll see if Fireball will catch that. But so far, as the Viper wall comes down, Penny spots Sogo. That lurk is deactivated. Now NBG have to worry about a flank, and they're being delayed by these Viper nades from Jakey. So the passiveness of this defense is providing really good delay. And Jakey likes to sit next to that green box spot, but this time being proactive, shooting back, not playing this hide and seek, and taking fate in his own hands. And NBG, as they established, they're worried about this flank that came through mid, and there is YFP that had timing in their favor this time.
Yeah, it was the first time I'm seeing indecisiveness from NBG. That lurk moving up here from Sogo, sorry. Again, he could have continued to push towards spawn. Of course, he doesn't have that information as we do. But that double push that came from YFP, even if, you know, it looks like they're giving up middle, they could still TP and go back towards showers and go for a really big split towards the A site. But then again, that double push that came from YFP still allows for them to have the element of surprise. Either it's going to be the lurk and the flank that we currently see now, or even a retake that they've already flipped across the map. So great read from YFP to take advantage of showers not being taken care of on a default. And NBG, they want to fight showers this time around to make sure that YFP doesn't push it again.
There's barely any delay against Alum, and now the dog is what's giving the initiative to NBG and the net nade, and NBG just are winning every gunfight. They flood in, and they get the upper hand in every duel. Now YFP are getting smoked off, so as they cross, they're being isolated from each other. And Physic didn't get a chance to really coordinate with Jake there at the end. So NBG are on an absolute tear, and yeah, if YFP can get some good delays and good timings on the flanks, they can pincer NBG, but that's the only success YFP have had all defense.
And it's so hard, too, for them to really try to stop that delay when you're being so quick for a limb and for everybody else of NBG. Not only are you going to have, you know, the Neon that's going to start sprinting up, but Hwin with the stim pack is also going to help the team really close that gap as they just rush and make sure that they could trade off with a limb as soon as they can. So it ends up being very, very chaotic at the same time for YFP to try to hold when there's still 3 players towards the site, but just so much utility around so many bodies following a limb. that Physic is stuck to do nothing but to save his Odin. Because you're already seeing the economy coming in for YFP. They are broke as a joke. It's look like they want to force around this. Penny is going for a rifle around the Odin. So they're pretty much going to buy down to almost zero with the exception of Physic at this point and try to make some plays out of that. Probably because Jakey could really try to isolate some section of the map with this pit if they really want to commit towards it.
And he's already posted up near Hookah if they wanted to go for that early round pit, play around the chaos of swinging out of that. But YFP have usually let NBG make the first move, but this Odin just ruins Kez. Who expects an Odin to swing out of Hookah of all things? And NBG caught by the unpredictable nature of YFP having to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
And that was very ballsy too. Only one player peeking out, no util, and thankfully it was just a 1v1. And on top of that, Penny's able to get the long range shot. He went for the Guardian instead so he could still have a strong and healthy buy in the next round and still puts value to it.
Grenade!
Ooh, some chip damage into Penny. Nade to delay. Molly in showers. YFP clearing their bases and Alum just slipping by. But YFP out in the open. Just take care of everyone that went also behind Alum in that case. And Sogo is the last one left. And this was a YFP that had Sheriffs, a Guardian, an Odin, a first blood off of an Odin of all things. So NBG maybe went into this round a little too confident and not expecting this extreme aggression out of YFP. But Sogo's made his job easier now in the 1v2, but has to clear U-Haul and Thief spots him first.
All right, so they got to start getting ready for this for Nightblood Gaming. That, you know, some players are looking to find some gaps and some holes here when they're trying to default on the attack side. You saw it happen 2 rounds ago from the double push towards Showers. They got immense value. And then for Physic, just to peek out and win the 1v1 Odin battle between himself and Kess. And you are playing a composition for NBG where, you know, you don't have the best Sentinel utility to look out for the flankers because everybody can just walk by the sonic sensors. So you do have to try to face check a little bit more. So I like here that they're going to implement a buddy system a little bit more, or 4-1 setup, while you do have Sogo just controlling both short and showers at the same time. He's going to hear the orb getting picked up. He's going to call that out that it's Thief that pick it up. So you might want to try to tempo a little bit more quickly into the B site to not allow the rotate with the orbital strike to get value.
Yeah, Physic still has a dog and a bird left, but he's just going to suppress them at the door along with the Viper wall there from Jake, and he could still pop the pit. He really wanted to waste their time even more or force NBG to make a decision on whether they would want to engage Jakey in that scenario. But then they could just wait for Sogo's lurk at A, so NBG usually peeking has favored them, but I think YFP have really woken up. And they're just gonna flash on the other side and catch Fireball. The crossfire is there from NBG, but it just came out a beautiful util to suppress YFP in that moment. The orbital strike, Alum is playing hopscotch. Barely dodges that and still gets the heads-up shot against Stellar, who came out to punish that movement caused by the orbital strike. Just casting a 1v1, then gets it done 8-2.
YFP trying to surprise here NBG with a double flash, so it got so much value. You combine here the guided light with also the dizzy. I think you got everybody towards long. But as you mentioned, NBG's utility was too good. The relay bolt that came out here from a limb didn't really allow YFP to push past the first kill that he got on Fireball Ups, and it was just way too much for them to hold. Once again, just very similar to the fast tempo of NBG towards the A side. Too much util in people versus the amount of people literally inside and defending. But it was almost a victory that came out from the last 2 players. Well, it was a 2v4 that was almost converted. Now in an eco, Sogo's playing long range and loses to Thief, who for him and Physic had the rifles in this round, and that's a free upgrade if they want to continue to push forward.
It's traded right out. NBG were hoping to catch YFP on these shower walk-ups. YFP used the flash last time, but it's Alum. Mechanically, in these high-pressure scenarios, delivers a big blow to YFP. 4 versus 2 with ults to spare. But still, Vandals versus the YFP, who had a lot of shares beginning this. You got Seekers, you got flashes deep into sight, so NBG know they have the real estate. But yeah, that peek from Thief at the wrong time. NBG spotted out. Jakey can't even capitalize, and it's just perfect util out of NBG to just give themselves such an edge every time they want to push.
Team continuing to be an obstacle here for NBG in the opening fights when they have the lower buys. Again, a hero rifle, a beautiful duel that was won here. This should have been traded out. Penny even landed a shot into the chest of a limb as he slid through, but unfortunately couldn't continue with the pop shots because he was tapping for that frag, and unfortunately loses that one, which takes out the advantage that YFP was trying to get, and also trying to salvage that weapon on top so you could have 3 rifles to work with in that round. But you talked about it. Only 1 ult was used for NBG. Still so much to go here in this half, or in this round. As Penny instantly dinked, not too sure now if you're going to use a showstopper to try to go for the trap into the ace ends. All of them falling back.
Knowing also that YFP didn't really have anyone in showers. They'll usually have a bodyguard. But now you're worried about Alum, and he's just caught. YFP just playing one step ahead, but now needing to fall back. Stellar could get a heal from Physic, and NBG still on track, but now needing to maybe rely on some lurks to re-clear through mid. They've left the left side of the map completely open, so NBG got to take their time to check these things.
Well, that's the thing. They might have to just go for the hit towards the A site. And that delay that was coming through from YFP, the block, allows a re-heal to come up, so the showstopper is going to be potent again for the defensive side.
Still a lot of ults left in our half. There's the orbital strike at the very end of heaven. The op is having a hard time getting through. The showstopper makes no contact, and YFP still have a pit, and they could just even put this on the spike. That's been left behind for NBG, and Sogo is on his way and gets caught with the knife out. So a 9-3 half. Still, YFP putting up some scratches after it looked pretty dead at the beginning of this map.
For sure, and that's the push here from that B side that allowed YFP to have a 4-player stack towards the A site, and to have the right numbers too to fight back against that aggression. So 2 players sometimes not enough, 3 not enough as well when you read the stack correctly, but at least 4 was definitely good there. And yes, you salvage that round for YFP. You have the opportunity now to take the attack side. This is where even NBG had issues on the defensive end. I want to know what they ironed out this time around to make sure that they have a much cleaner half. It'll definitely start off with a pistol round that would give them a little bit of that cushion if they could win that one, because then you'll only need 3 rounds to really close it out, and a lot of wiggle room to make some mistakes here, and to rethink about how YFP is going to work the map. And for this pistol, they're working on a default. They're trying to snake bite right into the B long, and even denying here Kess the opportunity of picking up orb. What if the snake bite missed?
Wow, the defense invested that sky flash through the teleport to give them shower pressure to get the orb, and they get double killed. So YFP, yeah, they lose a body, but they may just pivot to A. But wait, that option is starting to dwindle now that Jakey's lurk has been diminished. And you have Physic, who has no util in showers, and now you gotta worry about 2 on the flank. YFP are making decisions because of pressure coming out of the defense.
Oh.
And it's just Stellar. Sogo's got 3 this round. Stellar, good connection. The headshot on top. Spot, jump spot, and Stellar could do this 1v3, but the other members in the smoke, you don't know where they're gonna swing out of. If the spike is actually being held, Stellar has to walk up, and he clutches.
Huge Zippo clutch there from Stellar. Just, again, some great shots coming through. The player jumping behind APC for him to just laser beam him. And Sogo at low HP. That made it such a winnable condition there for Stellar. I feel potentially at that point, give your ghost to Hwin so that Hwin could just smoke you off and you defuse. And Hwin goes for the ghost battle between Stellar. But there's definitely some miscommunications on how they wanted to play that 2v1 or even go for a double swing to really fight against Stellar. But it looked like it was going to fall for YFP, especially with Physics double entry that he had on showers. But they're able to salvage that round, and YFP has a chance to fight back now.
Especially with the buy that they have. Guardian for Penny too. They wanted to start threaten that deep line into B. Keep their eyes on Hookah too. It's NBG seem to be more of a proactive team, one that'll really throw you for a loop in different rounds like they did on their offense. So YFP, they've really delayed their pushes to see where NBG want to be aggressive from. Meanwhile, there's a two-person flank on the right side of the map, and it's Jakey that opens things up, and the dog just bit someone on the defense, so YFP really want to call this spike over. Close flash. Good space for YFP. They definitely put a lot of paranoia into NBG on that side, and YFP had decided on B.
Clean start as well for YFP, just to stay so far back. Using your pistols to create space.
The fucking close range still hurts. It's a good trade. It's YFP with more than enough numbers and weaponry to take a monumental mistake like turning your back towards elbow and not clearing that. So YFP is like, right. I need to look back there. Let's not all watch the same door. Even in a 1v1, Fireball couldn't land a shot. The So goes up next. And it's YFP with a clean round, bringing a lot of weapons into the bonus.
For NBG, there wasn't too much invested going into the round. Wynn's going to play judge, so expect that being towards U-Haul, towards Hookah, just so that they can lock that spot, and seems to be the latter option, moving towards the B site for now and focusing a lot of the firepower towards this A site. Three-man stack on the defensive side. So far, so good, because this seems to be where YFP wants to start leading the sky. I thought they were going to try to flash so that Penny could try to get some early control inside showers. But it's just going to be for information.
Fight for showers again. Deadlock put a stop to that already. So YFP are left with one good option for A short, and it's covered with smokes and sonic sensors and a lot of hoops, a lot of obstacles for YFP to jump over, jump through. And they like to spend the first 10-20 seconds of a round just holding angles, seeing if NBG are going to walk up, because if any team's going to do it, it's them. And look at that early peek from Malum. Taking care of the Neon means you bring the game down to a pace that you're comfortable with. As YFP, the Thrash, gets it detained, and U-Haul, Penny's on the hunt. But as they cross over, you forgot about checking this corner. So NBG gets some decent trades, but it's YFP that get the clears that they desire. U-Haul is theirs. Back of the site is theirs. And NBG just have Kess and Hewen left.
Here.
With a dog to clear U-Haul if needed. No smokes.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, but Kess not using any of that. Thinking YFP were going to play more hidden than they were. And it's just a judge, and I don't think that's going anywhere.
Yeah, might even have to die with it too. But maybe not give some orbs away, trying to find some orbs yourself. But man, this is the second time that you have Jakey that's able to get a nice little punish in the very beginning. Jiggle Peaks coming out, and I even think even in the last round it was against a limb as well. So now he gets these picks, he gets these kills. Yeah, Wynn's definitely trying to find some kills with the Bucky. With the judge to try to keep the economy low, but he gets instantly punished right there. Everybody's winning inside the TP. That said, they got to find a way here to not allow Jakey somehow to be your main entry fragger with how he's finding these picks for YFP. That really started snowballing the tempo for a YFP to just really take full control of U-Haul, and did a great job at that. So NBG economy broken for a second time in this half. Bonus converted for YFP. And YFP are going to stay very far back towards the fountain, making sure here that they could deny orb control from either Wynn or anybody else at that point. They've all pretty much made it past the halfway mark to try to take control of this orb and get closer to these ults.
YFP know they have the better weaponry, so they can play off these deep lines because of those rifles, and just touching someone peeking so early. NBG want to take maybe closer duels, or one at least off of Util. Usually you have Kess around here, and he's sitting in Hookah, so NBG cannot lose grip of this map. They were up 9-3.
Right there.
Dominating on a 6-win streak, 2 to kick us off. But it's YFP. Off of Util. Wingman and Flash. Alum maybe unaffected there at the back site, and swings out from the box with Cat still with the dog and bird, waiting for the perfect moment, but hearing that teleport, it's all up to Hewen to delay this.
Just one and done. Bucky around triple.
It's not too bad. No one from YFP shooting through the box yet. Penny and everyone just trying to play anti-flash, but you would still get the trade with the Bucky. Not too bad.
Enemy remaining.
But you're just taking any damage you can if you're NBG. Try to hurt their economy if you can. But it's Jakey that ends the round with 4. He's really come alive as these rounds develop.
Big Bean definitely has been activating through the past 3 rounds. Also now putting the Viper's Pit available after this highlight reel that we just see from him towards this A site. But again, it was a smaller buy that you had, lower eco. NBG was looking for some gaps and some openings and maybe hopefully utilize, you know, the crisp aim that they have to try to get an early pick down towards long B. But they lost that in the process, and now it's an important timeout. A very similar story that what we've seen in the first half. YFP losing 4 in a row, going for a timeout and just trying to salvage some rounds, but they only salvaged 3. But the same story goes for NBG. Yesterday when they played against Rankers, a very strong start, but once you got to the second half, they only were able to get 2 rounds on their defensive side to finally lose that map against Rankers 13-9. So this is going to be the first important timeout coming out here from NBG. You want this to have great value coming out of the timeout as well. And I like the start. It's an operator for a limb, which I don't think we've seen him use it that much on this map of Bind. So they're definitely trying to leverage that space and try to lock down the line, potentially even towards showers, because that's where YFP has been defaulting their sky a lot. And it seems to be the case. A 4-1 setup on top of that at the very beginning, but looks like we're pulling back.
It's always been a scramble for that orb in showers. And that could be... I don't know how aggressive Alum really wants to be, and maybe with help, we'll feel more confident to do so, because you do not want to drop your op there, but thanks to the deadlock wall, be able to salvage that if it doesn't work out.
This is good too, because every single time they've thrown this wall very early and left that open, so then YFP would late walk back into showers for control, knowing when the timer comes back down, and you could sort of see it. Potentially even Jakey was going to try to move towards that spot. Well, you're going to meet head-to-head against the operator, but a great read for YFP somehow to just pivot and rush towards his B site.
Is the orbital strike going to come through on retake, or is it going to be the flush out hookah if NBG are certain that YFP are going through hookah? So NBG don't have any vision because of these smokes. YFP already boom botted in. Depends if NBG have heard that. Could be a proactive orbital strike. But so far, Hewan gets brought down before he can make a decision, and YFP just kicked down the door. And even decide to clear B long, even though there's Jakey back there watching a deep flank. YFP have all their ducks in a row.
Well, just save the weapon. I think it was a good call too for Win. It seems like though he was hesitating when to drop the orbital strike or if he wanted to drop a second smoke. But when it came down to it and for him to try to react, there was just too many flashes coming out from both Physic and Stellar. The good news, at least, copium for NBG fans, is that Elim hasn't shot his operator yet, and they haven't done they haven't caught YFP in that strategy of putting the operator behind the wall. So this is still an opportunity for them to run the same type of strat in the next round to try to shut down showers, because at some point YFP will try to go for that default again into showers.
All right, 2 weapons dropped, but it's NBG in a more perilous situation financially. And I'd say mentally as well, when you have, a 6-round gap? 6 rounds of insurance that NBG had in terms of lead, and that is quickly closing. With YFP being able to full buy, and not the same case for NBG. Got to judge light armor as Twin decides what he's going to do. Maybe some more Bucky action in showers. It's usually just been the deadlock wall, and that's all NBG have needed. Lean on this op. Alum still gets no action on that side of the map. See what kind of delay NBG can create at B long. And this dog doesn't manage to really get into the site, so YFP have very little information and have used now both dog and a flash to clear gardens. So 1 step at a time for sure, but YFP operating with less information. It'll just have to be about these gunfights, and there is an orbital strike from NBG. Initially just caught off YFP at the heel, and it's successful. Kez somehow not detected by Wingman, and Kez will just hold the line. With the judge, and surprise, it's just a shotgun show over at the B site. Reinforcements on their way from A. Seekers from Physic will call them out. And with the pit in place, YFP have a safe fortress to plant in.
And Elim had to use the op here to try to break the Seekers, so they didn't know about the op, the slow peak.
Oh, won't be able to keep that up either. 4 for Physic. Huge for the IGL, and 9-9. YFP, it's just, they were just hibernating at the start of the map, I think.
Yeah, but they did such a good job for NBG for the first wave to delay. I mean, that orbital strike for NBG to get into positions. He even gets a kill for a win inside that smoke just under Hookah to give a chance, a fighting chance for NBG in the site. But the 2 players inside container just couldn't win their duel, and that really opened up everything there, because the last 2 players, JK and Physic over at YFP side, had the pit, had the Seekers, has information on the last 2 players, and are able to just nullify that 2v2 and also eliminate that element of surprise with the operator that they tried so hard to get the most value out of. And now that the jig is up, you already see it. They go back to that showers, and then the op's not there, and YFP is like, well, this is free real estate for us. It's free showers once again. So I think YFP's calling so far from Physic is really, really good.
I wouldn't mind just seeing this deadlock barrier be used more reactively, because it's just been a throwaway util. Now that's been shot down, and by placing that, by having your util get shot, yeah, you know there's someone in showers, but it's not like you can do anything about it when all of your help, all your flashes went to B. And okay, coming through the teleporter, Quinn and friends trying to foil YFP's plans, thinking they were deeper in the shower, thinking NBG had a better cutoff, a better flank. And NBG caught in a place that they do not want to be in, and that they cannot escape, as Alum is hoping Sogo will help out, and maybe Alum call 911, but not for me. Alum is insane.
30 seconds left.
And he that spike down, that was such a huge risk too, because Sogo was about to drop that pit, and that gave an opportunity for the lurk to happen for Thief, but for Elim to peek out to get these 2 kills and spike control.
The overdrive and a 2v1, and that was a little close, I'm not gonna lie. But Alum's friend giving the sacrifice so that Alum, the overdrive 2v1, brings NBG back to a lead. But that took a lot of guts.
Yeah, we talked about our pre-match that, you know, players like Fireball Ups is always able to come up with, you know, highlight reels to be able to salvage and save the team. And this time it was Elim just from a straight push solo on top of that, because the combo they tried to do with Win and Kess to flash through the TP was not a good flash. It blinded for both players. They didn't get that element of surprise, and they both got punished. And somehow Elim was still able to pull magic out of a hat.
Wow. Just shooting down the flash, and Stellar following up with it, because usually it's been a very quiet B long. NBG, I think, definitely got a lot of morale from that last round, knowing that they are still in this fight, and with Win in the roster, there's always a chance. And Physic and Shaky, the last one's left already before anything could really develop and blossom. YFP were stripped down and aren't having much of a chance to take away these weapons from NBG, because at the state of NBG's economy, any damage here is pivotal. But it's NBG with 2 back-to-back rounds getting closer to that finish line.
And that's an important call too, for NBG buying all the way to 0 and still only losing 1 player in the process. The economy is still very good to fight back in this next buy of YFP. They're actually at a point where they could break the econ of YFP if they're able to win this next round. So this is the second and last timeout of the map of regulation, at least for YFP, and a much more important one as well. You have Thrash control. You also have 1 away from the orbital strike from Thief. You probably want to let your wingman still plant here, but I think the double spacing you could have, or even the post plant util if you don't need to use the ults, are going to be a key point here for YFP to try to keep this game close. Because so far, after the timeout op coming out from Elim and getting no results, they just decided to put Elim on activation slides of Neons and Vandal rifle fights that he's actually winning so far. He is one of the few so far within NBG that is not missing shots and that is not afraid to fight in duels, and he's just feeling himself at that point. So put a lot of confidence and a lot of trust into Elim so far. Seems to be a strategy that pays off now for the defensive side.
Yeah, the amount of double kills, the amount of 1v2s Allen was pulled off is so incredible. And it all hangs in the balance. It all hangs on this round. Will NBG secure the map or not and go to series point? This is lower bracket final. It's do or die. And YFP, they were able to buy up full armor, full guns, and a thrash. Leaving the spike behind. Look at this forward push though from NBG, at least on the side of the map. On left side, they're going to change their deadlock barrier to be in hookah this time. Leaving showers open, but not even checking out showers. NBG are letting YFP come to them.
Yeah, Cass doesn't really need a flash yet because he heard Vandal shot, so he's got 2 flashes, Seekers still, so they're leaving him alone so he could try to rotate a little bit or circulate a little bit of that utility from that sky to try to get the mid-round call, try to understand where YFP are trying to scale up. So the first dog comes through, he gets shot down. He didn't see anything because he got shot from very far away. So this is going to still add question marks to NBG's positioning. Nobody's really forced rotating yet.
And having Kess on this side of the map is huge, especially if you've tracked that he has Seekers, he has flashes. YFP could still commit to A. It'll just be the sonic sensors that'll be troublesome, but Thrash being used to go through U-Haul. We'll see nothing there. Up next is Penny in the lineup. And with YFP's just this line of smokes, getting U-Haul control lets you look at the backside, and YFP have a huge advantage in terms of space. But with Kes shutting down the lurk, it's fine, but no flashes for YFP could hurt them later on. And it's still an orbital strike from Thief, but this is gonna be to deal with this troublesome deadlock. And she is gone. It's just Kes with the Seekers at the last second that expire. No information that Jakey is there. The swing is quick and it's deadly, and it's YFP to take a round.
Use the Seekers all the way from B site, I think from that battle that he won inside Hookah. So by the time he makes it back towards the A site and Seekers dissipate, he has 0 information on that 1 versus 2. A nice little temple from YFP towards the end. The late lurk coming out from Jake was huge. Again, Jake has been impressive in the second half and basically godlike and really helping YFP in terms of entries, late lurks, backstab, good util. He doesn't need to work on anything so far here because he's a full complete player for the YFP roster this round.
Oh, there is a lot of people there, and Thief just... Oh, he wanted to buy more than he could chew. Could have got a 3K, but it's still YFP. That ring true. Flash into U-Haul. Forces Fireball back. And with the molly there, YFP are a little bit delayed on taking backside control. NBG just regrouping and deciding to retreat. And even though they have 2 flashes and a dog, this is too big of a risk 3v5 with where the economy is. I mean, Allen bought down to 0 for this.
And just 1 play to surprise the early peak coming out from Market. A triple swing, and somehow Thief still makes out of it with literally 0 damage done to him. And you look at the rest of the squad, how much damage taken to them by the end of this round? Potentially 0 themselves. Maybe they're going to lose Jake in the process, but I'm okay with Jake going on the hunt. He continues to add entries inside the site over on A. Try to keep the econ low for NBG if they can pick up the last few weapons here.
That puts him so close to the pit too.
Yeah, I mean, close to the pit, but most importantly, NBG only has 1 strong rifle in the next round, in this round right here. That is insane how you go for a high-low and Jake still wins that. And I think he barely got any damage done to him as well. This is pivotal. I think this is the round that turns it over and turns it around for YFP to take full control here and even close out this series, or close out this first map.
And post YFP timeout, they figured out their issues. They took back-to-back rounds, now forcing Nightblood to call 911, but maybe for them this time. Because Alum, you put all the eggs in the Alum basket, he's been able to clutch and be incredible. But with the weaponry that they have, they're going to have to adapt their strategy to play up close, to maybe go for a risky showers push with the Bucky. Where are you going to put this deadlock wall? Is it going to be in hookah? Do you go back to your traditional showers hold? There's a lot that rides on this round, especially when Nightblood, like I said, had a 9-3 start. And that has closed. And this is Nightblood's choice of map, I believe. So, ouch.
They just need to put a limb somewhere towards long B or short A. Because so far in these reads for YFP, they've been avoiding a limb quite well by the engagements and the slow defaults I do in the very beginning. And it's going to start things off. A limb here towards Hookah, trying to do the 1v1 against Thief.
Blow him up, Mosh.
NBG
Blinded.
putting Quinn as close as they can to even peek into showers with the Bucky. Is not going to get the surprise they were hoping for. Playing at this range with the Bucky is a little unfortunate, but they're just going to maybe let YFP walk in through A short, and NBG could hide in showers until reinforcements come, or really just be proactive, get one step closer to orbital strike.
Thankfully, they're not pushing further than that as well, because the Sky getting no sound cue was false information. So picking up the orb, trying to get Win into the orbital strike. A win con potentially if they can pick up that kill.
Oh, Penny! Oh, the last second flash cast walked through the smoke, was still spotted by this showstopper. And YFP clear out showers. The mop is out. And two defenders coming from B. Fireball and Alum with the hero Vandal. Alum has had the cape on his back before, but 2v4 is something I don't even think Alum could do. Just the very top of the haircut, but Fireball is not spotted. But Alum opens it up. Fireball with the second. Numbers are even. And you have a barrier in showers. You focus ahead in A short. Alum's already cleared U-Haul, spotted out Thief, and this is very possible a 2v4 that could be converted. But a little too quick to get on the spike. Stellar. Oh my god, Zipple clutch for YFP.
The only spot that doesn't get checked, but it makes total sense, because when Fireball Ups came out and got that cherry shot on the planner, you did not expect a second player to just somehow rotate into that spot. Right here, he gets the kill into Physic, and look at the repositioning from Stellar. And then the wall covers him, and Stellar is able to swing through for a free kill. A free 2K on top of that to get the second clutch for YFP in this second half and give them map point.
So we got full buys, full armors, and Odin for Kess. YP could steal away NBG's map pick. Scramble for showers, and look at this teleport play. NBG getting ahead of this, even Alum slipping by. So much pressure from NBG, and they get the orb. Annihilation, orbital strike. NBG could easily play for retake if someone like Quinn gets overwhelmed here at B. I like that he's playing an elbow. He can play his life. He can play being able to escape. Defensive orbital strike after hearing sound cues from Hookah isn't going to get the damage he was hoping for, but any amount of delay to maybe insert Sogo in that nook, catch someone like Penny maybe satcheling by. Thief, not knowing how close they really are. These smokes have been hurting YFP's pace to get into the site.
Careful here.
Orbital strike, though, is really just to try to delay, but with so much time left on the clock, YFP could still go for the late re-hit, split into the B site, and finally we go for the rotate as Kess is able to push forward. A big win con. We have the Deadlock ult 2 with the Annihilation.
Ooh. Yeah, and if Physic could live, you got Seekers in the late round, but NBG are trying to prevent this problem from even occurring. It's a 2v2 for the map win for YFP, and it's just Stellar in the 1v2 who'll take the spike with 10 seconds left. He has to plant. Racing back, Fireball and Kess from opposite sides of the map, one still with an Odin, and just a Kess dog to worry about. Stellar's gonna fade into showers. Dog sees nothing on the site. They may have a feeling that he could have gone through showers based on where it was planted, and Stellar's wrapping back around. He clutched the last round.
But the sonic sensor.
If he fights in that, it won't be good. Should be able to hear it, and he gets distracted, and NBG tie us up again.
What a big hold towards the end at that B site to really not allow YFP to get within. So the Annihilation, the flood from the back, not enough util for YFP to keep NBG at bay from the spawn. And it ends up they're able to flood back within the site and win all of those fights. And again, that sonic sensor was the key thing. If not again, for the third time, I'm sure Stellar would have won that one. But for a second time in stage 3 in this tournament. NBG gets to play their map pick in overtime, which is quite surprising. A very similar storyline. If that was a win for YFP, another game where they only are able to take 2 rounds on the defensive side. Thankfully, it's 3, and it's enough to play the OT. But YFP, they want to close it right away. Triple push down towards short A, but there's 4 players from NBG ready to crunch right back.
Depend on the timing. Are we going to get an early boom bot? YFP trying to be as quiet as they can, but now hearing this neon from Alum getting on top of the box, and NBG just crossing the right side of the wall while Sogo goes through the left and gets a double kill. YFP, it was really chaotic playing around that Viper wall, and it's NBG that benefit, but only have their half of the site. They haven't cleared U-Haul yet. They'll have sonic sensors, almost using U-Haul as a trap and keeping Fireball in range to swing on anyone from the defense that would take advantage of U-Haul. Jakey and Physic have now a pit to face, placed behind by Sogo. Shaky heard shots from the left, wants to play off of his teammate, with still a flash. They could go on the other side of this U-Haul.
Player standing.
But that is deadly util from NBG as Jakey would be brought down to solo health if he did want to try to use the illusion of the pit. A flawless round for NBG on their attacking overtime round.
Nicely done by Sogo too. That was a hero wall that came up to both Vipers playing some pivotal rounds for both of the teams. But that wall really gave some sense of false security for YFP, thinking that they had the timing to try to fight back against that wall. And suddenly all 3 of them get mowed down. Sogo gets a plant. And we talked about, or you talked about here with the pit, was the false sense of security, but at the same time, it covers U-Haul. They put a wall behind there. You're forcing all their opponents towards the right side where they have so many crossfires set up. It was impossible for YFP to retake that one. And now they want to do the same thing. They want to do something very similar here if they can to activate Jake if he could. Just waiting for that wall, but it's been slowed down because of a Quinn smoke just at the bottom of short A. So they're trying to time back out. Oh, big. Oh, the miss, though, from Jake. That could have been a first entry there for him.
Kess is still wanting to press this, trying to force a decision out of YFP. You know there's an op on the site, and YFP are still going to march along. But Wingman, they get taken down, so Stellar has to do it manually. Sogo just trying to prevent this. Shots through the smoke. He takes damage because of this. Really good peel out of YFP for their planter to buy that space, but there's a lot of flanks happening. First, it's Alum that gets flashed out. And I really thought Huin was going to continue through showers, but he's going to take the shortest route to just play this from front to back if you're Nightblood. And it's Physic with no flashes, no dog, and...
Well, he missed.
NBG now forced to fight this quick. Time is running out for the spike. 3 versus 2.
One enemy remaining.
Nightblood are going to get on the spike first. It's going to be held. But Fireball wins that at 1 HP. 1v2 won't have the time. And it's YFP that tie on their attacking round.
More extra innings now in this lower finals between YFP and NBG, and Jake getting first blood just like Sogo did on that previous round. Also, him getting that kill, being able to put the wall up at the same time for the post plant to just allow for YFP to scale up and win here. That 2 versus 1 was everything. I love the fast tempo, though, that NBG kind of brought in. You saw that flank coming out from a limb. He couldn't get the first pick onto Stellar, but it also still kept 3 players at bay, focusing on him to try to take him down. So the rest of the players are trying to fight back from showers, back towards U-Haul to try to take down, I think it was Physic inside U-Haul. But it's so hard to do when I think they had Win here on an operator that couldn't really get the pick and help out the team when they're trying to flood back within that spot. So it ends up being YFP able to clutch that round and push this into another double OT, or into another set of rounds of overtime where YFP are going to call their timeout.
Yeah, both teams went basically 9-3 on their offensive rounds and have won all their offensive overtime rounds as well. So it's YFP that really have to break down how they could throw a wrench in these plans, how they could take a defensive round and lean back on what was successful for them in the past in the first half, which was YFP being proactive and being a little bit more aggressive and changing things up, especially off of Physics util. We'll see if they'll keep him on the B side or A. Physic has kind of flip-flop between the two depending on if they want to fight a short or in showers, but will be the flash is kept on the left side of the map. See if YFP can delay This A push that has wasted no time, especially all stimmed up. Allen will run right into you.
No way.
And despite getting concussed, Thief holds his own with the shorty of all things. The barrier orb is still letting NBG get peeks in U-Haul. Still a good delay from YFP.
That distance with the shorty and still wins that fight against Elim. But also for NBG, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A full hit towards the A site, but they didn't go for the full plant. Yes, they have control of A site. They still have Sogo inserted inside U-Haul, but they're backpedaling towards the B site. They had Showers control, they had U-Haul control, and they're just giving it all up.
NBG think they're really selling this A site and think that they could just pivot over. But YFP had rotated while they were pivoting too. So you have both flashes in place for YFP. And even a nade from Penny. If there's going to be a hookah push, this nade could also hurt from Penny.
30 seconds left.
They call it jump spot. They
Yeah.
saw the jump spot. It's like, okay, well, I'm just selling a fake here myself towards hookah. They finally walk back towards the A site. The plant will come down. They have delays to even prevent a run through to be the hero play to delay even more. So YFP is going to have to play a full retake now in a 4v4.
Jakey is going to sit in heaven, but still wait before swinging. It'll be against Cass with the Odin. Oh, it actually clears the corner, and it'll force Cass out of position, leaving YFP to take more map control here of the site. Retake ensues, but the duels are going NBG's way. But all they need to rely on is time on the spike. It's YFP that are forced to engage, and it's NBG yet another offensive round win.
And when it really just wanted to try to win the round, just goes into his iPad and drops the orbital strike instead of trying to triple swing with his team to try to take down Stellar after he just saw him on a jump spot. But nonetheless, it still ends up being a good round for NBG. It would have been very dangerous, as I mentioned before. You saw how Kess, when he was trying to re-clear towards Showers, he had to be very antsy and slightly afraid. Yes, it was passive control by Sogo, but he could still get timinged. So that's why I was questioning a little bit, why are you giving up that spot when you already have the main Showers control? You still want to sell a fake, just bring your solo player to go. You can't meet up with them on time. But we'll talk about that another day. They still got the round, and they're still, for YFP, for this attack site, trying to do something very similar for NBG. A full hit towards the A site, concentration on short A.
Can someone win a defensive round on OT, or will we die of old age? Let's find out. We'll be a proactive dog. Just kind of screaming through some shots. Cass has been good at pressuring people back with this Odin. Don't always need util. Sometimes you just need bullets. YFP, he flash into Showers, spotting someone close to the doorway. We'll allow them to maybe get this orb, or at least in a second they will. As Sogo is aggressively peeking this, thinking he got some good early damage, and he's gonna follow through now that Alum is part of the equation. And it yields a subtraction for YFP's forces, with NBG in a 5 versus 3. With round advantage. Match point.
I hear you.
Oh, and Thief gets caught. He couldn't jump across. Probably util that tripped him up. And Stellar and Penny are getting no wins in their favor. Stellar is clutched before. Penny makes the job easier. He's on a deep flank. Stellar just needs to buy time and couldn't finish off his kill, but there we go. Just had to do a cool backflip while doing it and just hurt someone behind him. Cass with the Odin, shut down by Penny. Penny and Stellar could do it. It's Huyn that's already caught by the paint shells. Couple more seconds. And Huyn with the molly wasn't able to detonate that to prevent it. Try to use the smokes to see if he can get his half, but YFP managed to clutch it against all odds.
What a big round there for Penny. A 3 versus 1 inside the A site, wins the fight, keeps the contain so that Stellar could play a 1v1 inside B. I mean, it was still a 2v1 inside B where Fireballs should have had that win against that 1v2 because he got the timing. He got the sonic sensor to stun one guy. I think it was Thief. He even netted Stellar and tried to play the off angle and then loses it to a wingman jumping out. Sean Garros is actually dissing the wingman before, but it was a savior there this time around for YFP and for Stellar and also Penny to pop off and take this into a triple OT. That should have been over already for NBG with the time that was remaining, but this now is the win back in the sails of YFP in the comeback game.
and Nightblood are going to collect themselves in this timeout. And I like that whatever Nightblood's ideas are, they'll recruit Alum and he'll be down to go with their crazy. And it kind of worked out for that first half of the round for Nightblood. But it's such a big risk operating around a Neon, but with how mechanical Alum has been, I mean, look, he's got a positive KDA. It's been positive outcomes for NBG to just also compose yourselves when it was a YFP comeback that was brewing for quite a bit of rounds on their attacking half.
And that's the name of the game. Attacking sides for both of the teams very, very strong. Nobody's able to hold a defensive half yet. But again, it might be YFP's chance now.
Dog through U-Haul just gets the small glimpse, but YFP are playing up close and personal off this Viper wall. Spraying through the smoke. And Fireball gets caught by the Tog. Such a good pinch from YFP, and the hesitation from NBG has hurt them. And as they try to fix that, they confidently walk into a crossfire out of YFP. And we could see our first defensive round win. Cass and Sogo haven't had the clutch factor that maybe Stellar or Penny have had.
Right into the meat grinder too. Now the last two players, I don't think we'll be able to get this done. YFP should be at map point for this first map of this BO3 in the lower finals, but not too sure if Fireballic's running back here to try to fight back towards Towels. Maybe that's the reason why he went through there, because he could just isolate a 1v1 and hopefully win a duel against Jakey, but you can't win against Jakey in this game so far.
30 seconds left.
Just huddling up in hookah. YFP are going to watch NBG cross in front of them shortly, and for NBG to not have smokes left, they have to just clear this one by one, and Sogo does a good job. He's going to leave that to Katz, who's in a healthier position, pressures him back with the Odin, and there's only 10 seconds left. This would be an insane clutch in a 2v5. Still numbers for YFP. And they have the crossfire from hookah and backside, and it's Physic that finishes off the job. Made things a bit hectic if you're NBG, but our first defensive round win means YFP could go ahead and take this map in the most extended overtime we'll have today, I think.
Yeah, and that was actually a great thing to do here for YFP. You're playing a 2 versus 4, maybe even a 2 versus 5 here for NBG, and you're starting to make this doable because Kess was popping off with this Odin. But that single time, the window timing that he takes to heal up Sogo as Sogo's going for the plant, that allowed here YFP to close that gap and start peeking out, and Physic was just doing some great stuff, just jiggle peeking, winning those duels, and just also fighting individual players on that 1v2 in the back of the site. Now YFP at map point. We talked about it before here. NBG has not had the best defensive half either or ever in the matches that we've seen so far on Bind this stage 3.
Ooh. Oh, Penny is going to spot that push at B long and is going to play his life. And the spike is still going to be carried over, and YFP are just going to keep a watchful eye on any forward pushes that could be coming out of hookah and just being ready to capitalize on the sonic sensor, but it won't be tricked yet. YFP will dog up and realize the deadlock barrier is there, so it's still good info. And Alum with the delayed slide still is caught. YFP are so stoic in these early rounds, rewarded with the first blood. NBG are gonna go for a double swing and just keep walking into these crosshairs.
I understand the first slide for the slight overheat from a limb because he gets it done. But the slow pig coming out and you're still playing against Thief, it's not going to happen. Thief will still beat you in these 1v1s.
One enemy remaining.
And caught with the knife out. This is going to be all she wrote for this map. Thief bringing that experience, knowing that in these high stakes, high pressure scenarios, to stay patient. To know that the stress will get to NBG. They are the ones that will falter. And it's a flawless for YFP. 16-14, a long overtime to begin our series. Just tells me we're in it for the long haul.
It definitely in it for the long haul, but maybe that's also the map here that NBG let slip, and then it's going to be a one-sided second map. I mean, this should have been an NBG match for about 3 or 4 rounds in that first map. I don't know how it's going to continue in this series.
Yeah, and we're going to YFP's choice of map up next, and I'm excited to see how Nightblood are gonna fight back against this, so you won't want to miss out.
Bro, I don't like the villains. This is a bad question. I don't like the villains.
Probably just Joker. I feel like Joker is a pretty good villain. He's like the epitome of villain, and he's like kind of like clinically insane.
No, I'm not.
Maybe the Joker from Dark Knight series. That was played by Heath Ledger. That was really good.
Or like the Joker from like Batman in general. It was just like the whole franchise is just so huge. And
Kingsman, 100. Kingsman hands down. First, second, third. It's my all-time favorite.
I'll go with a little shout out to Koala Noob's favorite, Godzilla. Why not? Go with Godzilla.
I guess Sauron. It probably isn't, to be honest, but like that's the only thing I can really think of since I'm like a Lord of the Rings fan.
The guy from Whiplash. That's the issue, yeah. The Tempo. I don't remember his name, but that guy for sure.
Not quite Mike Temple.
I think it's got to be Thanos. You should have gone for the head.
Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, he's a phenomenal villain, and the actor that plays him is just absolutely he does such a good job, and the fact that he speaks like 3 different languages in that movie. He's just a crazy talented actor, and it really makes you like impressed with how cunning he is, and he's like a little weasel.